with Navajo Nation Shopping Center Incorporated CEO, as well as the Board of Directors. Ms. Begay, may you do the roll call, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Resource Development Committee, and also the Navajo Nation Shopping Center personnel. This is RDC's leadership meeting for July 27, 2021. Roll call. Ricky Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez is on the call. Thank you.
Thomas Walker Jr.
Present.
Herman M. Daniels. Kealan Begay.
Delegate Calvin Gates Jr. is present. Thank you.
Mark Freeland.
Morning, Delegate Freeland is present. Thank you.
Wilson Stewart Jr. Mr. Chair, you have 4 members present, and this work session does not require a quorum. And Delegate Daniels and Delegate Stewart will be joining you shortly as soon as they finish their teleconferencing call this morning. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. On the agenda, we have the invocation. Let us bow our heads and pray. Netkan hidigan God. Aganaho ara honlo na honetsan. Esehe potao. Inaben hikajasle. Quiche nhe hat atoi inna hand sabashim pe tenda iltindle. Hina nishidel ido khit ashin ina. But hadat en leni koro. Baneta quiche. Esehe potao. Nahatin ara honzaten hios kasendle. Hand sabashim hidana. Nahatsudes Kesgon Ha Isnern Sitnahas Aga Banel and Lido Bissendadenish. A Shehead Nido Hot Nahat Unleni Korobe Nahat Sohodes Kesto Nihitane Ham Sabushin Banachebe Yat Ehotahin Nado. In the Idolana alone. That can go in the Tatana, Todaita than Lego, at Senslista. Better than Kate R. The Kahatahoton, Nesto Yat Eho. That's not has Aro Palana needs and a Shehead Nidigan Lenny Hota. The Ne Panel and the Niketun Ashore Sata. Annie, though yet echoed a sadden, he isn't a hiddy trahende. Ashi ko Elisa, and that are not added and nepe nanny tinle. In a name aid on his thousand that has sat the corrosion, the national high need or left on his chon, a holon sea case and chair. Nikan the ghetto, Koroya at eho, and hid a nebby cut or less. Channah need long. And that a doyo need era. Nahara has taken. And I yield ze. And I yield ze ko satin, he that is asha. The hot ego the hadate zeho. We had a need order. 11 na hostaro, 11 na hodin need let a need sense. And that don't understood in it either. Ishin Daniel and so yet a hit of the band day cressa. I said at last, say her son, or either that I get Ashhorn hit again Laney, near Bahit and Laney hits on the 100 on Haman, on his shade on him sick case, Nahaba Halniar on Hitzi, on Hins and Ashhorn. In Hidas cargo. And the Tanfashion on hitch on Ned and Hubbard Hundla, Nick Ancient and now art, which end has been Laney. But I had your baggy, as Twido Sani, Ara Hayard, the Shinto had either. Sashing at the Stashiho, a Walliard, but that at Escartland. Ben se case be huns at the chedo yat hoshin in night at the hand hydro can later. Around the tan his alone habas hunla. And he is it in the dan Canada, but I'll try the around dan hinan beshma has an art on her, but hunla yat the we need after less. And that dan hinan a larger. Highest lineage speaker dame in Habas Honla. Yat Ehoban Sikesh of a Chabi Honla, Doyat Ehokoro. Beshba has Anya Zindo less. Royat Eho Binach Bia Nijoro Koro. Bihi Kahan Lindo less. Aro Nehe President Jonathan Nez, do Vice President Lizer of Honla, Bandad Nashi, Ashwatan. Washington, the she couldn't end up on lash order. I don't know Ahida Hagatit, Ahidan Handa, machine Habikatan E. Corrosion Yat Eho, Naspel he couldn't lead or less. I don't hit again, Laney, Corrosion. Nina, National Ahosan, Nchent Soda deals and creature. Nchenda in a car. Koro hajo bago in hitho anle ashon ka adan in sambakadadil baka sodadil zene koron hitchen huinla yat ehon hen da halchen yat ehon da widot soton hinal klostashin ya but the hajon ad ashchole ashon in hithon la creature She needed to last one ben Hicketchet Lehigi, Yat Ehon Hinan, Stahodnoro, Neh and the Dunhill. By Shehed Aro Shehed needle ask what once a one your body, and then you get the nation Jesus Christ. Amen. Nant I Kuroshi a hakat introductions again. Then go ahead and no at the hotel Saint Dale. Yes.
Chairman, before we move on, could I request a moment of silence, Chairman?
Honorable Freeland, who is the moment of silence for?
I received some really devastating news this morning, Chairman and my colleague.
Honorable Freeland, we could barely hear you, sir.
Okay, Kashan.
Go ahead.
Okay, last evening we lost one of my land board officials, Mr. Carlos Arvizo from Naizi. And I would ask this body and all of my colleagues to keep this family in our thoughts and prayers. He was on our job tour last week with us. Very well-revered gentleman, very awesome landlord. And have such a huge loss. Navajo Nation has lost such a huge asset. And I'm very saddened to hear of the loss of him this morning. So if we can keep his family in our thoughts and prayers, that would be great. Chairman, thank you.
Honorable Freeland, I'm very sorry to hear that. He was just with us on Friday, most of the day on our RDC tour. And I'm really shocked to hear that, Honorable Freeland. We'll keep him all in our prayers, and I know he was very well dedicated to children and 4-H and the communities surrounding Naizi area and Personal. So I'm just really surprised, Honorable Freeland, to hear this. If there's anything we can do as RDC, or we're here to help as well. So based on that, also, we'll go ahead and have a moment of silence for our land board from Eastern Mr. Carlos Arvizo, and remember his family at this time as well. So let us bow our heads and be silent for a moment. Thank you, everybody. I'm really shocked, Honorable Freeland. I don't know what to say.
Chairman, I'm sorry to break the news, but I did get permission from his uncle to let RDC know. I've been in contact with the family and throughout the morning. As well as you are, I am shocked as well, and it's such a huge loss for the Navajo Nation. And he was with us on Friday, and you are right. And I looked up to him in a lot of ways, and I counted on him and revered him and respected and admired his work. And he was one of those very genuine landlords who cared about animals, like you said, and cared about community, family, 4-H. And it's such a huge loss. It's so devastating, and it's shock right now. Our Eastern Joint Landlords and the councils are meeting on Friday out of respect. So just FYI, services are pending. Once we figure that out, I'll let you all know. And for Area Chairman, just thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. And we're on introductions at this time. We'll start with RDC, Honorable Members of the Resource and Development Committee, Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Chairman, committee members, our staff, and then the visiting guests and officials for our leadership meeting this morning. As of the presenters, good morning to each and every one. Although everything does she in today case could teach a job a when do kittle do a case a share honey it adult or anigate out of an idea it alarm or adult in some case the Western agency I think fascinating either Banna Shahaki it's city tour on the heading tour although Nana Ahasano second her gate with a Banasha Peshman nothing thing not just I could echo although don't mention here the tour but she put something to say that is a tradition national what I the then shadow RDC Vice Chairman a kind of sure what echo although what in the what the being psychologist not need and how the in the with what echo other code jot and it a cohon little store hit the nine he came carefully niki downhill niki to home and in the Kadosa sound has tweeter. Nita Quanil Nita Quanil that idea I could echo called or it never had any NATO Bansiki. So, the condition that they had it, so there's in the bad it. But it echo the Lebanon, without the this England. The court, oh, yeah, without in fact, they have said or the Shannon, I don't twists on the court or the Halan or either the names and what Elaco. without Sabahsidoli, to Kehe, to Zumbe, Igi Shananta, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Walker. Honorable Daniels.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Adonana Kodo, Shanat Ahmashenigi Kodo, Resources and Development Committee members of Shenigi. Adon the staff of the Kodo. Shema Ken Shenigi, Adon the Kodo. Office of Legislative Counsel Kodo, da Shema Kodo, da Ms. Khan. I believe she's not in the office, but Kodo Nagay Ajuda in Michigan here that I don't know Kodo da Sanjin Kodo Yes, Haskins was Haskins Kodo at the house Ago if you could touch down the Holland Bay that is Kodo. I don't know Kodo should now Kodo Kodo the behind the Kodo. They have a band that's case of sector. I see. Not ish not as Kodo. Kodo Kodo the Nevaho out the I see Kodo. It's good nature. I need all this to what I have the China need clean all this to what I have the so the year. I will need all this. A Kodo Bacho hot and the Kodo. And Kodo, it is. I'm in shock as well, Kodo, Mr. Chair. I don't know Kodo Senat Amazonity on the Friday and out it's down Kodo Kada be kind of way that drought toward Heliago. I talked to Mr. Urbiso at that time. So the national I was walking with him. Because I saw I don't know it all in so nationally. Man, this guy knows a lot in so national. The Krigo thing I don't know, Yashiro. It's just a so I see for the I see for the Naishnado Nana Kodo. I see for the JMS guy. So for the RDC for the we're a good committee. 2014 Navajo Council, good committee. So I don't know all the divisions that we work with. I don't know them. In the programs, we're like a big family. For we lose someone like this, it really hurts. As a member of a Resources and Development Committee. So I think we wishing my condolences goes out to the Arviso family the Western Agency to add a Bishop Anna a Kodoshanan in Sankodo. So I see losing one like that. It's a lot what Kodo. So I see Kodo Khalida the Nation Soyban Bantas case Kodo. I'm sure the Arviso family are looking up to us. Additionally, that we're like a big family for the RDC and also the Division Special Agency. So either family members and then for the Shinkicha is in for the job Badins and the Jaden as girls in Hitcher that is in. So either on Solbaha Zito Lesto Yego. High national if they're on the line, Yego High national Kodo. Kira out need answer without them. So it is about hospital. I don't know Kodo in Chiagi Herman Daniels Jr. I don't know Gave it I don't know Chin it is we had leaning out the net it is Scott Void Naleho Navay old J2 I don't know not on those 2 chapters there in Utah. I don't know Shanto and Zappy Kent there in Arizona. So 4 chapters I represent from the Western Agency, but being on RDC, I'm about the whole Navajo Nation, our Navajo people throughout Navajo Nation, 110 chapters. So thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Daniels, for that. Certainly appreciate the encouragement as well as the prayers that will be offered on behalf of the family. So, Honorable Kiel and Begay.
Chairman, good morning. RDC members of Slinigi. Well, first of all, I'm just going to say my condolence and prayer to the Riso family. We did spend time with them, and we appreciate his service. But Kudotso Zerito and our Creator, he has the ultimate line of our life, so we just need to respect that as well. Kudosh Edge Hanoan hidden Anslon Kian Ani that is a other district national. Ado Kudosh Lausanda Lepatashaki. I want to start saying this in Navajo, all of my chapters, so bear with me. Just is Low Mountain, Ado Pistolation Deskis, Do Ado Tachi, Ado Telan, Chalkades, Ado Nazlin, Ado Dag Halan. I could Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Begay, for that. Honorable Freeland.
Chairman, good morning, colleagues. I don't want to say Mark Freeland, the shadow of the Tutoni, Snort of Kiani, Bush's Chain. I represent 8 chapters. Eastern Navajo on the RDC committee. Colleagues, thank you for your words this morning and your condolences. And I just ask we keep the family in our thoughts and prayers at this time as well. 8 chapters that I represent, Crown Point. It's supposed to call AAS. That's my home chapter. I don't know this kid Dalton Pass I standing up. Shout out to Shini Bay Vicente. I don't Tele, White Rock. I don't Tele, Lake Valley, Honestly, Herpano, and I use that not easy. That's where Mr. Riso is out of and represented District 19 Land Board. So I'll send a communication to you all once I find out what's going to happen. Chairman and my colleagues, and I appreciate everything that you all, this committee as a whole. We are a good committee, and we mean well, and life is so precious, and we always have to count our blessings each and every day, and be thankful what we have, who we have, the gift of life, and always be thankful. We always have to be thankful for that. And I'm very thankful this morning. But I'm also sad. But I know we'll get through it, and we'll keep everyone, the family, in our thoughts and our prayers at this time here. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Honorable Stewart.
Good morning, Shania. Chair, Aro and the Vice Chair, Aro Shania Ke, Dowash Manager Ke. Aro is not on this morning on our RDC leadership call. And also, been there for Tuesday morning. Aro Shin Shake A. Wilson, C. Stewart Junior Age, Chair, do tell that Nasha. Aro Akadon Hija Hashna. Aro Twitsani Ainsley, Nanish Edgecachini, Bashin, Kachin, the shade up between the Chanela. And I represent the 4 communities, Fort Defiant, Sawmill, Red Lake, and Crystal. And I represent also the Fort Defiance Agency on the Resource Development Committee. Consultation.
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. Rick Nez in the year, almost Sunensla, or Zay Tachini, Bushes Chain, Sanabil, that should say, Araki on a Dashanel out and Enshla, Chicago. Chapters Banash, Nishigate, Sadak, on, Aro San Juan, Sasatmanik, and Do Tamast under the Hawagi, Aronina, Nazad, Do Alkoi, East Chosaka, Dot East Ndeshkish, what I Banash, Nestish, and so I hear Arnold Kokoro and Silkonashonigi, Aron Hibeshma has Anasa Koro and Histao East, Neve. Chi page na has agianal se na rates and our boss have a change though. Honorable Paul Begay. Press star 6 to unmute. Honorable Paul Begay. Okay. Any other members of the 24th Navajo Nation Council on the call with us? None?
Chair, this is Paul Begay.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, my brother, Honorable Delegate Ricky Nash, members of the Resource and Development Committee. So snart English shikisadat. Nido Sadish Gizingatan. Just joining in on the discussion. First off, thank you for the prayer, brother. It's always good to begin the day, begin your work with a prayer. There's always time that we hear unpleasant news. It's a plan that a lot of us don't understand until it happens. Just wanted to extend my condolences to all those affected by the passing of this leader. You always go back to the plan that was set in place by our Creator, and those are things that we don't understand. Ishi bin Nado. Adan kita ninde Diego David Silo Adelneto then Yashda Dinson Halifa Chili Hotego. Ian Kehoidole so Hain Nidole, Ado Nanzade Kido. Yes, Nahata old Nidole, quite behind Seal. Then he did Nigon here the whole arco. Cohort, Ibanese, dig up in Nakotego. Nichayati, the last acquaintance echo. I shared the sympathy, I shared the grief with members of this, the family that is affected by this passing. Idiot and the $1,000. Adel not up on a shutty. Paul Begay, she didn't. Tradish vision didn't don't be petoni, but she's for the chini that she chidokia on is another that it be total ton helling. The chi bishka giros on a bon sabatin, other banat ahishlenko. John Bashin said, I thought it is a whole lot of this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your words, Honorable Begay. Do we have anybody from Speaker's office? Ms. Yako? None? I'm sorry. RDC staff, Ms. Begay.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Resource Development Committee, and also the audience that are listening into our meeting. Yad a Bennett, citizen Bekhal, Z Benda, Ado, Shanati Adaltio, Dainosne, Ashini, a Kohoni, Witcher. Kunde, citizen de Bekhal, when Shaya Shami began shade on lane a G down in a Shana Kaden and show the Beshin Beshin to my a deshite. Kachini de Deshanalo da Sanenschle. Mr. Chair, back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Begay. Ms. Woody?
Oh, Yant A Chair, no RDC members, no listening to Yant A. Shiro ikotoyat in hit shnido leshe Teresa Woody in Shiro Tapan Shon the passage in the Bashashin. Sinajane the Shinaledo Kiane the Shiche, Hoto a son and Shlato Ado Kodo Kodo Hanebe. Hilhone ki oyo shijadis not do kodo I'm sending my condolences and prayers, Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Whitty, for that. Do we have the Office of Legislative Counsel on the call with us? Mr. Abeda? Mr. Witherspoon?
Mr. Chair, you have Kevin Barnett from Office of Legislative Counsel, a summer intern.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett. Let me go to Speaker's office.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the Resources and Development Committee. Adonana, Yahde Benendo, Ashio, so a decodot, Beshbahas, and Lodget, yes, Danigi, Benachia, Ben Hijahades in Soya, Dosata, Anidi, Behau Zigi, a Hijay, with is not, though. Ashi ashanet hidini do lish ado nana dot to the zinigi behaud zigi she hut au ea dikon benet nasco be danit edo lish ado nana ea shea melinda erviso siako yin shkedo tsinajinin shlon ki ani bashishin tot hudijini dashichedo deschini dashinale. Thank you for having us on the call. Legislative Staff Assistant for Speaker Damon here in Winter Rock, Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siako. From Navajo Nation Shopping Centers, Mr. Nick Taylor.
Chairman Nez, this is Nick Taylor, CEO of Navajo Nation Shopping Centers. They've been I'm sorry to hear about the unfortunate news of Mr. Carlos Aviso. Sudden passing is always very difficult for everybody. From the management team, though, I have with me a few other key individuals I'd like to have them introduce themselves. Let's say, Ayash, Dona Edna Slinigate, Hutsoni, Nishla, Kachini, Bashichin, Maideshki, Deshiche, Shkana Toha Deshanale. I'd like to have Mr. Raymond Nopa and the rest of my management team here in the office introduce themselves. We're zooming in from Winter Rock, Arizona. Ottawa, K-Dan, we're going to have our board of directors take some time to do a one-on-one intro stuff.
Mr. Nota.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Resources and Development Committee. Raymond Nopa Hinsha. Kodo a Navajo Shopping Center, do a Banashnish. Aro Jananishasa Lahagi, a General Manager. Kodo Nisha CEO, Lenigi, Mr. Nick Taylor, a Tato, a Besnashnish, do Kodo Yananish Inil Zenigi, Tato a Jananish Insen. Ado a Donans, Lenigi, a Tani Sadin Slino, Touching, Bashishin. Torich dashanala do ashin dashache. I would a yat and mention it all, would a yat a to a hair and he didn't need it.
Okay. Any other staff or board of directors?
Good morning, Honorable Resource and Development Committee members. My name is Juanita Yazi. I'm the leasing manager for the Navajo Nation Shopping Centers Incorporated. And thank you for having us meet with you all.
Next.
Good morning, my name is Charles Day.
Good morning, Honorable and Honor and RDC committees. My name is Byron Hosky. I'm the Business Development Specialist for the Navajo Nation Shopping Centers.
Next.
Good morning, honorable RDC members and everyone. My name is Elizabeth So. I am the controller for the Navajo Nation Shopping Centers. Thank you.
Shopping Centers board members, you may introduce yourselves now, starting with Ms. Canyon, then Mr. Graham, then Mr. Skalunas.
Good morning, RDC members. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, RDC members, honorable RDC members. I'd like to offer my condolences for the passing of Carlos Arvizo. You know, it's really sad to have a family member pass like that, and especially when, you know, a valuable member of our Navajo Nation community. Denise Canyon, I'm originally from Tuba City. I represent the Western Agency on the Navajo Nation Shopping Center Board. And I'm glad to be a part of this organization and be a part of this ongoing future of the Navajo Nation. Thank you. Keha.
Board members.
Good morning, Chairman Nez, Yate, Mark Graham, and Shia. Sena Bithne, born for Irish. I'm the secretary of the board of directors for the Navajo Center. I thank you for this time, members of the EC. We really appreciate this time that we can be able to go a little bit more deeper into the shopping center and some of the challenges that we face in further development. So again, prayers to the family and to all of those who are having trials at this time. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you. Mr. Skolonis.
Yate Bene Shananda, Kado Rick, Mr. Nez, Shanado, Shasani Boy Walker, Do Anot Ekro, Shananda Adanothini, Mark Do, Kido, Wilson, Paul, Do Herman, Ecuador, Wahins and Colon Heason, Sabe, Dahonini Behato, Zito, Jordan, not on in Linde, Jonoshi, Inai, Do, Bezado, Benat, Agishi, Benahli, Coho. Kodo ba hins and do bekin lini shi kodo in nashi ashon dapat z in nashi kodo ya teho ban sa kis la do as ya teho is zinde shi dan zo do da is koho do behons and han hisid koho shi Tony Scrolanis in shenle different saho gedi nasha Big Mountain, Lay Peabody, Black Mesa, the National Holy, King Huddersfield Holy, Quash Masando situation, Sanko, the business of the Yaba, I'm counts, and I know Echo, the Nebana, the Banshish, Koto, Nzao in Anish Tako, Adeko, board members, Trahiego, Dide, na liha baha wando the na isni do ako ya do ako ado lebo ne plini isni do le edi ki na nashigi yego hat no seta di no ako eba hi ako eba hensen kodo di na nashida engin hi to ako do tsada yego kya di shin khada ho do hajoshi so hanna zaya ke dasi na do hajon ki dadi tanitsin ako she the neck at all hold that door so should no she look at asad to the eyes ye go which the day bonds as a case na hadlan she not just kadi et al ko da I see ye go the cases ako but ban saske su chinan khande kuich ako di what enahalan the pedo ako a business one hegi ako yeah dol.
Thank you. Honorable Chairman Otto.
Good morning. It's been Chairman of the Resources and Development Committee. I don't members of the RDC members. It's been auto sewing. Na kainen na el kappa bashin look at that's chedo to na jini. I don't know, good to hear you guys on the line. And addition and though I did Navajo Shopping Center. It's been board members and Mrs. Morales and Ms. Canyon and CEO. It's been good to hear you guys. And I don't know that we have to extend our condolences to past leadership and Konhinan Ko Behani. No, Nashin Sagulinan Shila. Go Eko, I give Ashin so Naya Katiyado, Ego, Nashin so Alaya, Nani Yaki, Ko Babin Nashin. She has a zero, she they never in not Hashi Ego. It's Anoye, it's Ego that he could Ego ye, K Ego at the whole she. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Any other introductions? None. We'll go back to the agenda. The purpose of our meeting today is to have a discussion with Navajo Nation Shopping Centers, Koron CEO, as well as Board of Directors. What their goals are, developments, and challenges. PowerPoint presentation was sent to us. So at this time, I'll give the time over to Mr. Nick Taylor.
Nana, can you all hear me okay?
Oh, go ahead.
All right, all right. So thank you, RDC, for taking the time to hear shopping centers out as part of our ongoing discussions. We last met in April, and we gave a quick overview of our company, Auto DJ. It's going to be talking about leadership meeting and what shopping centers' goals are for the nation. So right now at shopping centers, we're a property management company. We oversee 10 shopping center properties across the Navajo Nation, all the way out in Crown Point, all the way to Tuba City, Otto, Nahakwas, to Kayenta and Shiprock, and way down south in Pine Hill, Rama area. So that's our land base. So right now we're repositioning ourselves for growth, getting ready to do some new developments, because that's what the Navajo Nation needs right now. For the last 10 years, there's been not very many big developments happening with retailigi, not a lot of places to shop, not a lot of places to eat. So the management team and our board of directors have made that our top priority now, is to help the nation grow with new businesses. And that was really highlighted during the pandemic last year, where we had the weekend lockdowns, travel restrictions in place. Many people had to just stay home and shelter in place and take care of their family as best they could. At the same time, they had to also shop locally. And a lot of people began to shop in their hometown, the local areas, and that was really beneficial to our economy for the business owners and business operators. But right now, the goal for us is to reduce the need for our Navajo citizens to travel off the Navajo Nation for goods and services. In the retail world, we call that, we want to reduce the slippage of dollars. We don't want no dollars slipping off the Navajo Nation. We want to reverse that trend to where instead of losing 90, 80 cents for every dollar that's in people's pockets to water towns, we want to reduce that to like less than 50 cents, maybe 40 cents, 30 cents, be better. As we begin to offer more services and goods for our people, that translates also into more sales tax revenue. So more dollars going through each businesses, and the Navajo Nation government, of course, gets its share of it through the sales tax revenue there. And as we begin to focus more on bringing in new goods and services, that provides additional opportunities for employment for our people. So we know that a lot of people do need jobs here in the Navajo Nation. So that's our long-term goal there, and that's what we're kind of getting ready for. And with the RDC members, we'd just like to share with you some of those items that are for your considerations and your thoughts that could help pave the way for having the Navajo Nation grow and expand on the retail side. So what exactly does shopping centers have in mind for development? Well, we primarily have in mind we want to attract more restaurants to the Navajo Nation, either whether they be sit-down restaurants, or we could sit down like with a Chili's or Applebee's or some kind of franchise restaurant, or maybe even quick service restaurants. But our focus is going to be the sit-down restaurants, where we want to have families come together and spend some time and spend an evening together. Or even for tourists, we want tourists to not just stop, refuel, and take off and leave the nation. We want them to get to know our people. We also recognize the need to provide family entertainment and activities for all ages, and that's another component of our growth plan that we're going to be pursuing. So for example, for Shiprock area, we have a lot of land there on our property, and right now I've made it my priority and our team's priority here to look into what it would take to build a movie theater complex in that land area there. Because we do know that there's a lot of youth in the area looking for activities to do, and even a simple movie theater would be beneficial to everybody there. And in addition, we also want to focus on clothing and apparel, bringing in a TJ Maxx or a Ross clothing place for people to shop locally. And it's just going to take some time and hard work from our end to find out what these retailers want and need from a good location. Also, longer down the road, we want to try and target the big box retailers like the Targets, the Walmart, the Home Depot, Lowe's, Sprouts. And shopping centers, we are the company to do this research and growth. And that's what our mission and goal is as an enterprise of the Navajo Nation, to grow the retail sector on Navajo. And again, for far too long, we kind of neglected that goal, but now with this team, I want to make that a priority for us and for the nation. And what's going to happen once we meet our goals? Well, we're going to enhance the quality of life for on the Navajo Nation. There's going to be more places for people to come together and meet, to share stories, to pass on knowledge and teachings. There's going to be more chance and opportunities for people to try new things in Dinepazad and Dinehnat, all that, and more opportunities for parks and playgrounds and for learning areas. So we're really going to see this happen quickly once everything's established and set in place. But focusing on this morning's discussion, exactly what are some of the issues and recommendations that shopping centers has for RDC? Well, within my PowerPoint presentation on slide number 3, there's a table there colored orange and white, and there's 7 items listed on that table. I'm going to go over in detail these 7 items, and with me is going to be Mr. Nopa, and he's going to be sharing some of his thoughts on it too, and some areas that he feels like we can focus on to enhance Navajo. And Mr. Nopa just recently joined shopping centers. I mentioned we're in growth mode, and so we did bring on a new general manager, and he's going to be there to assist me and the board members to meet our goals here. And We feel pretty well with Mr. Nopov. We like his background, his knowledge and expertise. So he's going to be a key personnel to helping us meet our goals, in addition to other members of our management team too. But starting off with number 1 here on our table, the issue is Navajo Nation Shopping Centers Business Site Leasing Authority. So currently, in an SCI, we have a management and administrative business site leasing plan developed. It was done in consultation with the Division of Economic Development and the Department of Justice. So those two entities reviewed our planning, our business site leasing authority document, and they approved of all the documents within that particular plan. And right now that document was tabled about 2 years ago at RDC. So to really kind of help shopping centers move forward faster with the capabilities to do business site leasing, we'd like to have RDC do an approval of NNSCI's management plan. And right now we're just lacking a sponsor, someone who could bring that back up on an RDC agenda and have RDC vote on it. That'd be one of the first things that we'd like to have RDC assist shopping centers with. Now, second, I'll have Mr. Nopov explain number 2.
Resources and Development Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Board of Directors no Senigi do Aridais no Kadoshi AIA Kado Mikinant Mr. CEO Mr. Nicholas Taylor. Kadoshi AIA will present this information to you, and we'll take turns. And so Kona Kiana Eba Honishnagi Kadona Sosniki Ekoliagi AIA Hastana Hayada AIA Economic Development Fund Hano Kado Inalta Sato AIA Sato AIA Dina Nishan Char Wolyegi AIA Sato AIA Tabaha Bahaozo 0.5% Koko AIA Kota AIA Neha Kota AIA based on Linigi AR Inalta Wolyegi Linigi AIA but not necessarily. At AIA 2015 at AIA Behazani at AIA Nasos Bedana at AIA Behadelia to base at AIA Nahalia Sydney Ko AIA could AIA Nasos Be Onesh Wulyegi Economic Development Fund Management Plan. So what are a yoke? What are a yet? A baby nashet? A yes. Okay. Any hit that a sato niche kadon shopping center ni hit ninigi a sato a niche sato a based on ninigi do niche projects and ninigi do a sato a be kato so hano. Okay. A niche that need is and not ninigi. Okay, but not AIA D I need 2019 at Okoti Kato Nezna Okot AIA Nikha shopping centers, but the Nigi got AIA Biyeto da Inisto, Biyeto na Lieba, Wando the Ne Anihin hit the Ne at that onish Navajo small business, but the Nigi Ado AIA. AA kado na liedo at AIA the need to do adon the ado based on aliato inaltanalia. Okay, 2019 at $125 million could AIA but ado the net linigi AIA could to us in. Okay, gross sales lean hikoja. Okay, even after Nanan go it's enough it's added they go enough taiki Nihikoto 2019 $7.5 million could a sales tax would get it's added Nihe kado nihe kaya discuss ando our properties but nigi ebits adot a aj nite. Ako a kwagi eben nache koko a kado economic development fund management plan but nigi ebit nit Asian a hadal yashin to hadat Asian to ini kedi a man to listo sato in khatotso ko ke an hin ke projects ta halando jokot a kato ata ya hatsi den e kato e pa honesto den e na lia pa ha man bit ko ko in hin an spinning inil zenivik na ta kato e khatasito tida ko anira ta the emergency rescue plan fund but the nigi jo lato a hanso a expenditure plan nigi do da sin ebita date to da sin a yoke ko I da large a economic development fund plan will ye I da ko a ndokas to ni hin projects nigi a tato soti that it no ko a ko na kion e da sin so Akut eba hosnet olation and not lenigito aredais not yeah.
It hagi nasko yes be the tax incentives that will ye. So with the Navajo Nation, the tax system I need it's outdated la, and I was talking to a few businesses on and off the nation, and a lot of the taxes that the nation collects, the system in place for that needs to be updated and amended so that way the Navajo Nation has a proper incentives for the purchase of the Navajo goods and services. And these tax incentives can either be for all businesses, some businesses, or from government to government departments. So those are one items that we see that need to be amended is the Navajo Nation tax laws. And Nikaya shopping centers, we're not the tax experts, so we need to defer to the tax commission for that kind of insight and leadership as to what can be changed. But this is a recommendation that not only comes from shopping centers, but a lot of small businesses on Navajo. A lot of small businesses are familiar and used to some tax discounts or tax credits that they apply towards their end-of-year financials to help them during downturns. And so a lot of businesses that have done their operations off the Navajo Nation, that's what they're used to. And when these businesses come onto the nation, they always are surprised to learn there's no tax incentives for the people, for the businesses. So that being the third recommendation would be to amend the Navajo Nation tax laws.
Yananet Janant Arnold Lenigi, Shenadishna, Raymond Nopa. Akoti Kodona Sauce Nichikuliage, Ado Dune is Zohagi, a community planning clearinghouse. Okoyat do here, do by Hehil, Nichidishin Ilsa. I da Kodo da initial da the action, the Navajo Nation Council, a legislation 0110-21. Aita kwagi taho yik el hodla. AD Central Support and Regulatory Services bidi nidiki. Okot aita hinat adat aita aita bedo ni do aita be lasosni. Ako here ile kodo ni here kodo a shopping center in the Leshado. Ako kodo ashi da kodo taho yilda hasne. Hawanda neldo edo da oltrada kin da neldo to selto edo da based chi da adult no da jag och det I att det anlägg nalka det då anlägg att det har ändå anke kodo då nan Navajo Nation hit ni och regulations just alltid ko Ada da nana ya be eda hazinigi maps will yegi to put ya ada na long ya Khaylan sha ya kodo di hahotso community bidi ninigi. We don't have a real good insight of their plans. So we want to be involved in the community. Hana she a toitsel. Jot eda hazen go jo eben nache go kodo ya ni na a kinde nesto da large and long. Out of the cost sharing that she ya hotel, and we want to merge and collaborate with other funding sources from other enterprises like Navajo Housing Authority. So we want to be part of that development and collaborate information with maps so community planning clearinghouse kon big hostel to kon Satoshi han so abeni to
Ashlagi 5 partnerships, enterprises, local governance chapters. So recommendations are to review, amend all Navajo Nation enterprises plan of operations to include the use of partnerships, whether that be for planning projects and also figuring out project statuses and doing financing. There's a lot of talk within each enterprise about how they can grow and help the nation, but right now we're still in the Heya enterprises, we're learning how to work together still, and I think that the financing area is about putting our money together, making a pool of funds and investing in certain communities would be really beneficial for everybody. That's going to be kind of called an inter-enterprise lending. We can either lend our money out from the debt side, or maybe we could be owners in a particular project and do some equity financing. And we just like to have enterprises make it a priority to do that partnership and outreach, either through enterprises or LGA chapters.
Navajo Employment Preference Act. Legislation 0110-21. Alago ote aita na nishigito aita na lihat aita katatat auto parts store to the beti nido adon data alata na lihat wanta cho inigi at o na nishbe cho inigi da Home Depot to the beti inigi da hot kot la nan quinzin biche cho hinil ako ko sato ni hanatze doshi asto economic development the added kosto nana hot ye khata to ko ti kwaki employment preference the nigi kwaki do hojo ya kuns and doshi hojo ya hat ihnen shat ne yodle kon de join ni kato in the nebik test will ye den ne na list of le khat ne gi jo bunny zindo be has on be hat the kato latot auto lat sa kes kon de shi khagi shi aba net za hat ida da khat ni jo hajo na bik yet to hajo ba hin Haigi sin eia in jungo eia at elnet eia sin eia e hazosin be his ani sin hazot ndonol in to hazot eia the nokas ako kut eia e ban sa ke ako sato e ako ni ani o anle le khada so go eia e chide parts hal ko ye gita that gita what eia it ne kut khates in akoto eia e chide bana initial ye gita hawan bana initial ye gita nihili ta konda e kai ki bana ye dan den gita kut eia e akoto e nashni to le si dan zen got esto akot eia e sato eia the employment preference bit ni gi sin eia e kato kato hini ke to le so nana ko akot go sinta eia the kato ni jin that not is eia ada ni eia kato the nebe the house to eia yat eia kato ba on sto bi to yat on ako all you need to das that they understand the market here on Navajo Nation. Ko AC benina atlodo AI benina a Walmart that atlo go a kin and they to a biskata habit ako kaigi AI han so go the bes on in the nigi AI khana sha AI bin that it had no yet at the no could hada sit so yat o snant nothing good be hospital yeah.
The last one, number 7, or so shopping centers. We want to be more than just a landlord, and we want to be a developer, and so we'd like to be included in more talks and decision making for retail development on Navajo. And a lot of chapters want to do development, but if chapters could outreach to us and maybe we offer them some insight as to how to develop quickly or give our recommendations, it helps streamline the process. I know, for example, with the Division of Economic Development, they have a few of the retail projects that they're working on. And instead of duplicating efforts, it'd be good to kind of work together on some of these initiatives. So that's our quick list of the top 7 recommendations we have to RDC about what kind of changes can be done quickly to make development happen quicker. Moving on to page number 4 of the slide. So some of the continuing challenges that we've often come across or hear from other people, whether they be just regular citizens at the chapter house or meeting with potential new tenants. One issue that comes up often is the issue of dual taxation. So some businesses get taxed from the state and also the Navajo Nation, and that kind of creates a difficult environment for them to work in and to do business. Second, we learned that some restaurants, dine-in restaurants, they typically like to offer on their menu the sale of alcohol as part of their dining experience. And even a few hotel chains that operate dine-in restaurants also like to have alcohol sales as part of their dining experience. And at shopping centers, we recognize the challenges that the nation's faced over the decades with alcohol use. And at this point in time, to really kind of attract a more diverse business and different kind of shopping environment, the nation needs to kind of reconsider its stance on alcohol to an extent. Another issue that comes up too is rule addressing and shipping. We need to really work with the proper committee to get the rule addressing completed, specifically for high growth areas like Tiba City, Kayenta, Shiprock, Chinle. If we could have rule addressing in place, that'll allow for these companies to receive their goods and services quicker through FedEx or UPS delivery. And for number 4, it's the fast internet accessibility. Fiber optic networks need to be built out because a lot of businesses these days, they require fast, reliable internet. And more recently, too, with the retailers, a lot of their sales strategy now includes e-commerce that will doing internet sales, and a lot of these retailers too have made apps on their smartphones to where they want to interact with customers in different ways. And right now, the nation, we do need that fast, reliable internet across and everywhere. On the other slide, slide number 5 there, that's just a visual representation of all the different types of retail centers on and near the Navajo Nation. So that's just for your reference there to give you an idea of what we're working with at the moment. We do have 3 potential new areas for a retail development identified on this map, and those are the rings in color gold there, and it's primarily focused on the northern and the eastern areas. But when it comes to development, I think it'd be best for shopping centers to really focus on a particular area for development, like Tuba City, Kayenta, or Chinle. Those are some areas that we feel that are ready for development and that can grow pretty well without having to not compete with businesses that are close to them. So those are our recommendations, RDC. We now open the floor up to Mr. Skolunas. I believe he wants to say a few more words.
Mr. Skolunas.
Shinanta Kodoye Forty Tuniki did ice which is na the Zayoki, it's other the one has other than this. So unhindered, Kado, Nimada that aid on the shed that aid they can how they have the so odd, but the hot that the better or big rush the odd in the extreme. But the Nahoyegi a conduct that now, so even now, 80 year about which is even naturally, I show this now. The Ray even so although I not the stuff Nissan or the cruise skate note that Nissan again the Navajo, New Mexico, Jen Hinanta, the Kayato Wilson. Nearby one grocery store that has but Yego cut needs Jacob and natural food that not say that no. Although the Tangi the Scott out now, Bohnet Santa, your Colonians, Ash Bowers, your red lots will become that out on the net what's that? You know, we're the experts in shopping. We're the experts in understanding what our people want. We've done a lot of research. Survey that they appreciate AI situation is I Diego but Sahas case of it and also when has Kenas the Diego that the Netherlands and these what's one soda the business ki khari da ushte ko an biyato ne tabdi no they put up bash hotels in those no ya na ska ako digi da ko ni hida ais khas da dai na di no ako de ni ki ko today ye go ba ti khata di no they like ko nick ho ya chapter da I said LGA beta media, Local Governance Act, going to the city that LGA was intended to allow chapters to partner, and you know they have that taxing ability, they have revenue generation ability. Some of them have barely made any inroads in terms of like creating like community development corporations, really small stuff, LLCs. But the big opportunity is partnering on major development. Then just how was go the eyes on no teeth, not niche eyes, or you are no teeth. Ada Kate Zido, they Salt River Tribe, Gila River Tribe, the not this year on no teeth. Alcohol that is a real participant is the local government or the tribal government. So that alcohol tax incentives, special financing districts, there's creative partnership, equity ownership by the community. Alcohol that's egi on hila kodo let's just chapter ABC. Ela sato ni kot de don't need the quidi that I he so the Diego na no safe needs so it's that what the quidi she Diego hat ado Diego na the shiki pass na but they had no safe that the no even I thought the enterprise is I said which that the case that they know a call like casino that's any hospitality NECA that's any I see Diego just the neto so I said I cut a jail they are need the Napa had no safe that the no what on the which alcohol kodo and kodo ni dani alcohol I said ni kids so no don't kiss the wheel now don't need so that should alcohol even what's you're in a good posture I think for something and that's what we're trying to do is kodo so the yego behozno lego kon igi behozno akot na shiki hot had need say that no ako kodo baby hot kodo hasido le sita na agi baka sa ado le kodo hanna yeah
Mr. Taylor?
Well, Mr. Nez, that concludes our discussion from Shopping Center's point. We now open the floor to any questions from RDC members.
Honorable members of RDC, do you have any comments or questions? Naidos Kirishnantai. So Naidos Kidgogoshan I should Naididesh Kishkaro. Mr. Taylor, it's good that your team there desires to do much, and with the legislation that you mentioned earlier, I don't know how some enterprises do not understand how they have an oversight. I believe that Resources and Development Committee is your oversight, and therefore in the future, out of respect, please reach out to RDC before any other colleagues and other committees, because we are the oversight, and it's always best to reach out to them first before you reach out to any of our other colleagues. As Resource and Development Committee, we try and not reach out to other committees' programs to introduce a legislation, because out of respect, we feel that they're the ones who are the oversight. Recently, there was a concern brought to our attention, which was veterans being charged a fee for a cemetery plot as well as backhoe, and it was only proper for RDC to tell Health, Education, and Human Services Committee that they're the oversight over the veterans programs, and therefore they need to we encourage them to have one of our colleagues on HESI to introduce that legislation for veterans. I just want to make that clear to you, Mr. Taylor. And I don't believe that legislation was tabled. I believe it was deferred and put on hold by the sponsor. So it's been there since then, 2019, with the attraction of more retail business within the Navajo Nation. It's good to have family entertainment. If you really step back and look at certain areas like Monument Valley, that place is a major tourist place. Same with Canyon de Chelly and other areas on Navajo. Even Shiprock, the rock itself, there should be a road going up near that place for tourists to take pictures. And yet, a lot of tourists just drive through, take pictures, and make money and leave. You know, when they leave, they sell these photographs. And I think we need to sequester some of these dollars when it comes in. And I agree with the restaurant parts of it. There should be more restaurants on the Navajo Nation at these locations like Applebee's, and also having a place to shop like Target or Walmart. How can that be done? What laws need to be amended? Do we need to look at our taxes? What are they afraid of? Is it the court system in case there's a litigation that happens? Is that what they're afraid of? As well as the challenges, that's probably part of the challenge, is how come they're not, coming on to Navajo? We take our money off Navajo Nation all the time. We're in Farmington, Gallup, we'll go to Albuquerque, Phoenix, Flagstaff, Winslow, Holbrook, Page, Cortez. Yesterday we were having a discussion. All our rainwater just flows off the Navajo Nation into San Juan River down to Phoenix. To these border towns, how do we capture that? Maybe it's time that we really look at our economic situation on the Navajo Nation and come up with a plan as to how we're going to do that. And I'm glad we're having this discussion so people could have jobs locally as well. And, we need some nice places where concerts can happen on the Navajo. So the only places that we have meetings sometimes is at Twin Arrows, other than off the Navajo Nation. There should be a place to meet also nearby in Window Rock area where council can go to have their meetings as well. So about this, Mr. Taylor.
Look ahead, Chairman Nez. Ani, we took those notes down. We have those now. And yes, for the management business plan, we'd like to ask any of the RDC members if they'd be willing to be a sponsor of that particular legislation. If you could just either give us a call or an email, or we could email you individually. I'm not too sure what the best approach would be to get a new sponsor.
Thank you. Honorable Chairman So.
Good morning. Go ahead. Chairman Nance, the Resources Development Committee. I know Mr. Taylor and the shopping center. I really appreciate your report here to the committee, and really echo a lot of the needs of the economic development, the foresight that the CEO and the board has, and the corporation, what you guys have planned for the nation and the growth. Number one is that I do agree that we need to look at a lot of the improvements. And we spoke about the property improvements. And I'm wondering if you have a strategic plan to where it's economically, not just because, for instance, I'm in Tuba City. They can say a different community and get initiative on it, but economically strategizing where can improvements happen to existing property to enhance the economy. And you talked about the issue of we don't have to compete, and that's what I mean. If shopping center can't, if there's no competition for shopping center in that area, it's good to improve things and enhance what could be offered there, and when I go to my community, to the city, there's a parcel of land that sits right on the north side of Davis Chevrolet, and we've been trying to see what shopping center has been trying to plan for that, and I know that there was a plan for a RV park there, and just wondering what type of plan you have for that proposed RV park, because you have all the infrastructure. Water is there, sewer line is there, the 10-inch water and sewer line, they're both there, and just wondering what's holding up a lot of the development for the RV park there, and this is a great time to address that, because tourists are not there. There's a lot of tourism coming in, as Chairman Nez alluded to, and coming to see the scenery of the West and with and yes, I don't know with that with the new property sites. I guess just be mindful to have an economic strategy on where the recovery of funds could really work, and that way you're not really trying to hope that you make those dollars back. So I appreciate this report, board members Tony Scorales and the board, and I appreciate this time. Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable So. Mr. Taylor?
Okay, Honorable So. You're right about the economic strategy being needed. So shopping centers at we're realizing and seeing that we need to really come up with the economic development plan by agency, most likely, and within each agency is going to be those big growth centers. Like Tuba City, with Tuba City and shopping centers, the shopping centers entity, we haven't been as proactive as we should be in talking with the local government there. And at this moment, we're not really on the same page with the local government because we haven't shared development plans yet. And so that's my focus for this year, is to really get more out and meeting with our chapters and the local governments to understand exactly how we can do economic development in the right way. And so that's where we will be headed pretty soon out to Tuba City to meeting with the local officials there. And with that RV park, we did an assessment on the viability of the RV park, and it didn't come out, and the numbers weren't there for the demand on an RV park. What we learned is that in Tuba City, the tourists like to come and just stop there for a quick break, and then they head on out to Monument Valley or to Canyon de Chelly or up to Page to check out Horseshoe Bend. And these are the folks coming from Flagstaff or from Page. So that's what we learned. And right now we're kind of working with the Division of Economic Development and assisting them in a certain extent to help them utilize some of that land next to the shopping center for their build out of the hotel that they're trying to get started here. So that's a quick update on that Tuba City land area.
Thank you. Honorable Freeland.
Chairman, good morning. Colleagues, Research Development Committee members, Mr. Taylor and your team, the board of directors and staff. Thank you for the update. I want to, reiterate what Chairman Nez had mentioned as far as big box opportunities. It seems like a lot of our big box stores, it'd be nice to have them. Yes, it'd be nice to have a Home Depot or Lowe's or a Target, even a Walmart. I had a comment one time from one of my young constituents from the Hatashkish area. He asked me, Mr. Freeland, could we get a lot of burger at Crown Point? And, I first thought, as a corporate, as a lot of burger is, I wish we could bring them to Crown Point. I wish it was that easy. A lot of these corporations, businesses, these big box businesses that are thriving off the nation, seem to fall under the jurisdiction of federal and state courts, and they don't want to be under the jurisdiction of the Navajo Nation courts. I think that's one of the big hindrances. It would be almost like we would have to waive our sovereign immunity if they were to bill on Navajo. The next thing is, feasibility. Is it really feasible to build a big box store on Navajo when they're gaining all the profits from us on the border town? There's going to be a comparison. Why would we need another store when one is thriving in Gallup? The Gallup Walmart is the most profitable Walmart in the state of New Mexico per capita. And I don't think Walmart would want to give that up. When you mention Walmart in other areas, the Gallup Walmart especially, when you mention that Walmart like in Albuquerque or Farmington, they know that Gallup Walmart is it's almost like a legendary Walmart. And it's because they're so profitable. I always remember when that Panda Express also opened in Gallup. There was a line out that door for over 2 weeks. I finally went in there one time and I ordered a dish out of there. And I wanted fried rice. They told me they sold out of fried rice. And I mentioned it one time in Albuquerque at a Panda Express. And I got the same result. I got the same comment again. That Gallup Panda Express, it outsells all the Panda Expresses in the state of New Mexico. And that really gives you an idea how much our Navajo dollars are going to border towns. And I don't think these corporations want to give up, that profitability. Those profit margins are so huge. They're making a lot of money at these locations. Why would you want to build a Panda Express in Window Rock or Crown Point when Gallup is making all this money? The same with Walmart. And I just think of that concept. I think of why we're not getting any businesses is because of that. That concept, that business concept. But thank you, Mr. Taylor, again, and I really want to continually advocate for our area, Crown Point, and Eastern Navajo. And, work a little bit more sit down more with you and Eastern RDBO. What do we need to do to make Crown Point and Eastern Navajo a viable economic hub? And what do we need to do to bring more businesses, especially more eating businesses, to Crown Point? At one time, Crown Point was very thriving. We had a KFC, we had a bank, we had all these businesses. Of course, that was a time of when uranium was around, when the BIA was a little bit larger, more operational. And we, of course, had issues we didn't have issues with land at that time. But, nowadays, it's like we're so far behind other regional hubs. We're far behind Shiprock. We're far behind Chinle, even Kayenta, even Tuba City, Fort Defiance, Winter Rock area. We're so far behind, yet we're still out here, and we're still providing services to, thank goodness we have Grandma's. Grandma's is awesome. It's a great place. Thank goodness we have Victoria's Pizza. And I know RDBO is trying to get us more places for our people to eat at. People say, I know I've heard this before, that the traffic is not there, that we don't have enough population. I would disagree with that. I would respectfully disagree with all those comments that we're not big enough and whatnot. But you know what? We have a lot of our people out here that would love some change, would love some opportunity. How can we make that happen? How can we make Crown Point, a viable economic center, even if it's in the beginning stages, even if it's something very unique? How can we make that happen? That shopping center is a great location. And Bashes, I want to sit down with you again, Mr. Chair. I know we've been talking about this, but I wanted to sit down with you and talk about giving that Bashes a facelift, a remodel. At one point, I had thought about the concept of even bringing a Starbucks. Of course, there's franchising fee. We have a hostel next door. You go walk into that Bashes, that deli, there's always a line at that deli, whether it's from the hospital or whether it's from local constituency. But we need to give that place a facelift. And I would love to sit down with you and talk to the Bashes family. How can we make that happen? It's about time we have that discussion and really move that forward, because that's our central location for shopping. And I would hate for our money to go to Grants or Gallup or Farmington when we have opportunities there. So I just want to make those comments, Chairman, and say thank you again to Mr. Taylor and your team and to the Board of Directors. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Freeland. Mr. Taylor?
Okay, Honorable Freeland, we heard your comments, and let's meet soon to discuss how we grow Crown Point.
Honorable members of RDC, any comments or questions?
Comment, Chair.
Honorable Stewart, go ahead.
Again, good morning, Shania. Shania, Kedosh, Jayaja, Dosh, Measure, Mr. Taylor, Dosh, Kiss, not a out under the board, and then the staff there, so not a this morning, and then also the report that you have provided to us this morning and the developments that are happening, and what you foresee with the economic development part of it for the shopping centers as well, and then what has been progressed within the communities, and also the various things that have been happening in Navajo. Yes, we did see those things, and I was surprised that we did meet at one time, and we're supposed to meet again. And I'm glad that Mr. Nopa has been selected to be a part of the team there, and that the progress that he has made with that initiative to reopen that store there, because there is a need, especially from that area, not only Navajo, Red Lake, but also the Crystal community, who has continued to express the same need for a store as well in the community and in the area. And it does do provide a lot of service, and I think it would be beneficial to put back up again. I know we've had those discussions before, but also, within the Fort Defiance community as well, the progress that they want to make and that they want to do. as well as the other chapters, Samuel in there, and Crystal. These these communities that want to grow, and because of the fact that they know that they are near the main highway of N12, and that they know that they can do something on that route. And so the leadership there and the staff there, they're doing the best that they can. I do need to set up another meeting with you all as well, regarding these chapters, and see what their plans are, and also their Club C manuals as well, to see what we can do with them. But the report is well received, and I do appreciate the fact that you have asked RDC to sponsor this legislation. As stated, and as of my non-chair stated, it'd probably be better to come back to the committee and ask. But you have done that now, and that's just something to keep in mind. That the committee, Resource Development Committee, not us, whoever sits in this committee in future, they're the ones that that are going to be the ones to support you in that way, the best way that they know how. And we do want to see all of our programs, departments, and the stores, progress. We want to see them flourish, across the nation, especially now, this time, and in the future, to have economic growth in each of these communities. And there is a need out there for the restaurants, and even with what needs to be done in these communities. We have the hospitals or NTA, serving lunch and serving meals out to community members as well. So we know that the need is there, and we know that the want is there, to have good quality meals served in the communities, and even little coffee shops as well. There's one that just opened up not too long ago in Windrop, and that one, I'm sure it's doing well as well. So I just wanted to say thank you in the report that you have provided to us again, and also for the board and for Mr. Nopa for being a part of the team now. Thank you, sir, for what you are doing within the team there, the progress you're making as well in Navajo. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Stewart. Mr. Taylor.
Honorable Stewart, thank you very much for those comments. And shopping centers, we would like to give you, Honorable Stewart, an update. So would you like to schedule a meeting to talk about an update on that Navajo Pine Shopping Center and the grocery market there and the progress being made? So we'll email you, and we'll set up a time and date so we could sit down or perhaps even meet over at the center and just walk you through what we have planned, and possibly have you meet the new business owners there. That'd be really great to have soon. Yeah.
Honorable members of RDC, any comments or questions? Naidos Kiddush. Honorable Begay, go ahead.
Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Dikudo Kanaki Lake Dog and Josh Hanaran hit an Snowkey on the buses chain. Let in the central agency maybe provide me the overall plans that you guys have. The development that's being planned for the Chinle agency. Although the crossroad in this in Mini Farms area, there's several business sites. If there's any way that any development could be proposed from your area, from your department. But I mean, is there a way that I compete with the Chinle bashers? Because we still have Round Rock, Mini Farms, Rough Rock, and then you got Rock Point, and so on. A lot of the Nanash quite. I call A Kodo hit Ahota. Could you please work with me? Maybe the RBDO has only quite base cut teacher. I don't how actually meet with the chapter. Also request on list. Farm chapter. Then the other one is debt service. I know we give our enterprises entity. I think I brought this up based on Linigi, Sato, and development. Based on that, maybe we can consider giving some debt service of your enterprise. I thought you did need net equity. I think once in Glendale, and then another time at Ecuador. Deep out of your meeting by Nicole, I've been sitting there. Unless you guys let me know if you guys are not to go that route, just let me know so I'll stop pressing on that particular issue. So, Ada, Chairman, Ecuador, but night that's Kidalisha.
Mr. Taylor.
Honorable Brigade, thank you for that invite to have a meeting with you. And yes, we are in agreement that we do need to refine the plans for Chinle area in terms of development. And I do recall you having making that request of meeting up to talk about the intersection right there at Many Farms. And it'd be good to hear more from you on that. So I'd like to meet with you soon.
Thank you. Honorable members of RDC, Roshin, Daidos, Kirgi, Badalesh, and Ibanadet Esh, Honorable Vice Chair Walker.
Thank you, Chairman, committee members. Can you all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Just got to make sure. You did mute in that the Katoya Bajiona. Shinantado Resource Development Committee don't his staff don't hear what it I don't handle Shigi at Astro. The whole town. Sin. The quite buffing Nigi Ado the Navajo Nation Shopping Centers do CEO Shiche Mr. Taylor Ado board members do Shajedo Hanatsi Tony Scolan Sekoyate Shaje Akoho Dida Bahwin Nigi after so or Bidish Atlan Sahakis Edo little either the Natchan Sahakis he did off-reservation Navajo owned lands, Navajo fee lands. Ada Ada Bansaskis Koda Zikawanit Inja Loop area, Birch Springs, Tulani Lake, Cameron, Do Coal Mine, Do Daukan, Tisto, Vajikawanit Indigi southwest portion of the Navajo Nation. The Zikaya Hodla Navajo Nation owned lands off the reservation. So the most well known is probably the Twin Arrows properties. I don't know the Horseman Lodge, Ado Big Bouquets lands further west from our area, a couple hours west. What is little known is the Winslow area. The two ranches, the two ranches that were acquired several years ago. The Winslow Land Tract, which is in and then around Winslow. Back in the mid-'80s, our leaders, Navajo Nation leaders, Chairman Zaw, the advisory committee, the Navajo Tribal Council, Tribal Council, they acquired the properties here
in and around Winslow, known as the Winslow Land Track. At the time, they announced and then celebrated. Of course, we were all listening, paying attention, and were very appreciative. It felt good. It felt empowering at that time. Yat but today kids do zilo ben zilo today kids itant oya anin de kai akot eko itant not an hanakel jo this only nastico shin kids that they say the future Navajos, future opportunities, things in terms of future, things not seen, not yet discovered, not yet made known, not yet developed. Ishi atikna naste. Okadon nefiki beg eat lado nefiki eat naste. Even yakaya nahaz nature da no. Hadatsi on John Sene. This koda no. Then they specifically mention the properties that were acquired were for economic development, housing development, education, community development, agricultural, healthcare, future Navajos, the mid 80s, 1986. So if you dig up all press releases, all news articles, Navajo Times or area papers will talk about this great land acquisition by Navajo Nation, and you'll see references to what I'm talking about here. Itata hot in the digit ati to baka nazlahada digit over when in the to hadli penta ikayaki ashnegi ako over johdish Arkansas chairman do committee members ado the Navajo Nation Shopping Center leadership administration and management ik how yatil ki Dila nani ziniki hoye betrata inil di hot edo de dila dadol ni dila hayat echo dadi ni ben nachet o sa betrana ado de sa don se ikis giben nachet ako na edik de kwa ele khaho ate snele ya future Navajos, future development, future opportunity ele khaho eta to kata di chita edo ate snida There's nana that's artish, not ding nana that's artish, Naha, artish need. Jado timeline, eto that you need. A called 8 coagulation and coagulation with Nagi. Dinan Chandichado, Beso, Adod Nis, the Nayek is lado, the city, it banded, nippen machine. Ikea haki kwa nazneliki late abansi kistolis bansi kistolis Johnson dish chananta do ta isinil zaki ako as tweet not ani not ani tanza itat khatten do ba ashla na khayda kaya dayisni in nasten kitten apadolis nena in shiatan shlinsen chananta Nasta, future Navajos, future leaders, future business people, future developers, Nena, in Siatan Sislensen. Ito ba this Chananta, Koshe, not Chino, the Schneider, Judo, Bansa Kisto, the Adona Chikonegi, the western edge of the Navajo Nation is full of opportunities, as we all know. Edo, his better husband Cameron, though Tuba City, the Chi, you can not quit Calnit, any archer, Kinit Lahagi, Adok at a loop, a non loop a by virtue of having been a host chapter to a gaming enterprise gaming facility. It's a huge economic opportunity to connect the local chapter, local community to the casino economic activities. Maybe shopping centers has some ideas that we could use to make these connections, connecting the dots between these activities and local members of our community, our people. These are challenges, and as a matter of fact, all along from state of New Mexico state line, Arizona and New Mexico, along I-40. Every day, I don't know what the traffic count is. It could be a mind-boggling number, on an annual basis, what that traffic is like, the number of traffic, the number of people traveling, back and forth each day, 24/7, year-round. That was referenced yesterday. Later oyot keta nigi dazna nigi John Hallendi I-40 peso gi Hallen which not tinta thousand year ishin Charleston kwege peso adorni ni kaya nazne ni casino dosa ado kaya dosa shanade dil adi tinsil dahaki panko engine dan shananta ko oya van saske kwa atra sabi ado this shananta Shahaba Henson. Thank you, Chairman. Going back on mute.
Thank you. Nathan, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, Honorable Walker Jr., thank you for sharing that history on the Winslow track. We haven't really explored that yet, and it's only because I didn't know the Shilpazan land, so we can consider those lands. And we agree here that the western side has a lot of opportunity and a lot of projects happening everywhere, it seems like, which is good. John? Okay.
Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? I believe we're pretty much done here. Our recommendations are to continue to support our Navajo Nation Shopping Centers Incorporated. We understand that they have goals that they presented as well as challenges, but together we can move forward and grow the Navajo Nation. So we probably, Mr. Taylor, if you would send all the necessary pertinent documents to RDC, we'll select one of the members to be the sponsor of the legislation. Mr. Taylor.
Attorney, we will do that. And thank you again for the opportunity to spend a couple of hours with you this morning and share our plans and thoughts. And I have from each and every committee member for your comments, your questions, your feedback.
Thank you. Honorable members of RDC, any other comments or questions? So Mr. Taylor, that'll be our follow-up. Make sure that you prepare all the necessary documents and send it to RDC. Taking the time to be on this leadership meeting, and thank you, board members. Otto, Michel, Mr. Nopa, thank you very much, Mr. Skolanis as well. So thank you very much, and have a good day. We'll adjourn at this time. It's 11:05. Go on, be safe out there. RDC meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Thank you very much, RDC. That's a really good discussion, Mr. Chairman. So, be safe. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman, colleagues and staff. Thank you. God bless. Stay safe.
Thank you.